Quarter one is officially done, and honestly, it did not go the way I had planned. Today I'm going to do a real check-in. We're going to see what worked, what didn't, and what's going on with my planner stack for quarter two. So let's jump in. Hi friends, welcome to the March Reflection Wilderness, where we say goodbye to quarter one and lean into the lessons we picked up along the way. I should probably start out by saying that this first quarter did not go as planned. Not even a little bit. There were struggles, bad news, and a few bumps in the road. But thankfully, there's also sprinkles of progress and a little bit of fun mixed in to soften those blows. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of my reflection, hi, I'm Amanda Lynn, and every week I share my goals, projects, and planning systems. I'm really glad you're here, and I hope you'll stick around for more planning fun. At the end of this video, I'll also be reflecting on the planner stack I chose back in January. There are timestamps down below in case you want to jump ahead. But for now, let's start with reflection. The first step in my quarterly check-in is always looking back at everything that happened this quarter. I keep those monthly and weekly reflections tucked into my MäksēLife companion notebooks, which honestly makes this process a lot easier. I can flip back and see all of the highs and lows, notice where my reflections dropped off completely, and figure out why. Normally this would just be a monthly reflection, but in the MäksēLife system, every third month includes a quarterly compass. So today we'll review March while also pulling out our biggest wins from the entire quarter to use on my quarterly compass page right here. So let's start by filling in this reflection page together. In March, my biggest win was finally getting Violet's school drama sorted out, at least for now. That was a big weight off of my shoulders. What's working now is my task list. Having this list broken down into itty-bitty places has made it easy to chop straight through it and get a lot done, which has been really satisfying in such a busy season. What's not working quite as well is my emotional bandwidth. I've been feeling a little edgy and pretty emotional lately, which honestly makes sense given everything that's going on. This month I learned about my mom's cancer diagnosis, which has been really hard news for our family. So if you're the praying or positive thoughts type, I would really appreciate you keeping her in mind over the next few weeks. For improvements, next month I think the biggest focus will be slowing down where I can and being a little more intentional with my energy. I'm really grateful for smart doctors who take the time to explain things thoroughly. And I'm also grateful with the technology that allows us to stay connected even if we can't be in the same place. The habits I want to continue nurturing this month are movement, which was my focus for last month, and adding in some more intentional self-care. And as you can tell, my mind is somewhere else because my handwriting is showing strain. To be expected. I apologize for my terrible handwriting today. The area I want to focus on next month will be fresh energy. That's going to be my theme. Quarter one felt a little like limbo to me, so I'm ready to reboot the year and start moving things into the win column. And finally, let's rate the overall satisfaction for the month. March was productive, mostly because I needed a distraction, but there was a lot of heavy stuff happening. So for satisfaction, I'm gonna stick with a 5. And now let's take this reflection into our quarterly compass. For the quarterly compass, we also have to look back on our previous scores for the year. So this is my January compass. Quickly write them in. We look back at how we did last month so we can see if our ratings are the same. Now the difference is that the life compass that we did in January also included all of the assessment questions that I covered up because I wanted to have a place for my book tracker. But those assessment questions helped me get to these things. You can download those assessment questions on MäksēLife.com, and there's a printables button at the top corner. Today, I'm going to answer from my gut and look at the progress I've made in each area of life. So Let's enter these scores and see how things have shifted. At personal, I was at a 6, but I'm gonna move it up to a 7 this quarter, which is an improvement. Then fun and recreation, I think it's holding steady at 5. We didn't really have a lot of time to spend finding the fun this quarter, so we're gonna work on that for next one. Work and learning stayed the same also at 6. And family relationships is definitely holding steady at 8. For health and wellness, this one moved up from a 6 to a 7, mostly because of, I believe, the tracking and the addition of my registered dietitian as my accountability partner. So that's been a good move. Spiritual growth, this one's actually moved up too, from 7 to an 8. I'm feeling really involved in my church. And then for financial, it dipped slightly from 8 to 7 just because we're like a little behind on our tax appointment right now. I'm hoping to catch up before we meet, but I had tried to get it done in February so that it would be ready and we could just get it done, but things just got out of hand and I fell a little behind on that. So I'm going to move that down from an 8 to a 7. And physical environment has steadily remained at a number 7. So overall, I'm seeing a mix of improvements, but since there's only 1 decrease and 3 increases, I'm going to mark that as improvement. Now, underneath the chart, there are a couple of reflections questions we're going to look into. What personal actions contributed to these results? My main focus for the quarter was improving my health, and I've made several changes there that I can definitely feel the impact of. The financial dip, as I said, is mostly because of the scheduling chaos put me behind on tax prep, but I plan to catch up on that really soon, hopefully. 3 words to describe how I felt this quarter will be productive, confident, and healthier. Because if you look back at who I was in January, I am making much healthier decisions across the board. Then the biggest opportunity for growth in the next 90 days is definitely fun. With all the appointments and stuff that were going on this quarter, that part of life took a hit, and I'd like to bring more of that back. And of course, my main focus for the whole year is still health, but I want to add a little more fun alongside that. Okay, well, honestly, this reflection brought a lot more clarity about how I want to move forward with my goals for the quarter. Next week, I'm going to share how I use this information to build my quarterly overview, where I choose my theme for my season, set monthly focuses, and establish on what we want to work towards. Okay, before we move on, we definitely need to talk about my planner stack. This quarter was a struggle. Not with my MäksēLife system. I absolutely love this setup and can confidently say that the small quarterly goal books compared to the huge coil bound planner I used last year have been amazing. But for some reason, my December brain thought it would be fantastic to start 2 completely new planner systems at the same time. And my 2026 brain would like to politely say, absolutely not. I introduced an A5 on the go planner as a brand new layout for my everyday essentials. And while the weekly spreads looked cute, the function itself was not my favorite. So the horizontal planner, the horizontal priorities layout was the first real step I've ever taken into the horizontal world. And it didn't really click for me. I didn't even end up using the habit tracker section, so that space started to feel a little wasteful, so I started to fill it in with deco. What I discovered is I don't need a weekly layout here at all. So now I'm wondering if what I actually need is just a monthly planner with some notes pages for the go. Unfortunately, Plum Paper's saddle stitch books, which is what you call these staple bound books with a paper cover, they're offerings are limited in this, so they don't really have a monthly planner for that. I have already purchased the same planner for Q2, so I think I'm going to continue this for Q2 because I already have it. This just seems like it's going to have to follow along. I probably won't do anything at all on the weekly spreads and just use the monthly layout for now, but because it's already printed and it does have notes pages in the back, so I'm just going to use this book how it works and not pressure myself to fill out any of the week stuff in the coming quarter. I do have to say that it was useful to have a portable place for all of these appointments that came up this month. Like this quarter was heavy on appointments. So having a calendar to take with me on those busy days was very helpful, and I'm very glad that I did that, but I just don't think that the layout I chose was right. So that's what's going on with the A5. I actually am really enjoying my social media planner. Everything, I mean, I just used some light washi up here and wrote in my filming schedule. I have my schedule and the posts that I'm doing for a client, and everything's just filling out really nicely so far. So this is working. Nothing wrong with Laurel Denise. It's actually very helpful. And I think the way that I've split up the different segments makes it easier for my brain to understand. 4 empty columns is a lot to take in because you're like, what could I do with this? But when you look around on their website, they show lots of people doing different things with the different columns. And so that's actually where I came out to do my own personal little list situation. So it's working out really well for me. I'm very happy with my Laurel Denise purchase. As I said, I love my MäksēLife, so that's working great. Now here is the troublesome one, my 7x9 planner. Let's talk about this. This planner has the exact same monthly pages that I know and love from Plum Paper, and I will never say no to a monthly layout from Plum Paper. Here is where things get a little dicey. This is my first time in a vertical columns that is 1.5 inches wide. I mean, not my first time, it's my first time in a long time, because my first 3 planners were the skinny 1.5 layouts from Plum Paper. I had the ME layout and the, I don't know, it's like morning, afternoon, and evening, where it's like 3 sections. And I had used them before I started with my vertical priorities, but this one, I guess I just got used to having more space or something. They're just so skinny now. I feel limited, and I feel like cramped, maybe. Feels a little claustrophobic to me. Anyways, this habit tracker being on this side of the page was hard for my brain. See, some weeks I didn't even fill it out because I'm used to seeing it up here in the vertical priorities, and teaching your brain to look for it in a totally different part of the book is not easy. I'm just going to say it's just not easy. And I honestly rarely plan my weekends into detail, so having a stack Saturday and Sunday and wider columns is totally fine for me. I think I actually prefer that. Thankfully, although I did purchase a full year of this planner, I tried something different here. I even added a single notes page in the middle to see if that would help, but it's just, the columns look so busy and it's just a lot to take in, and I'm overwhelmed by it. I think I need more white space on the page, which you get when you have the vertical priorities planner. So on that note, I am definitely ready to go back to the vertical priorities. And as you might remember, I did pull out a single month of it so that I could throw it in on weeks that I felt like it, but I just didn't have the wherewithal to do that. So I think what I need to do is, when I'm having my spring break, over spring break for Violet, I'm going to go through and date these pages so that it's easy and ready when I need it. I did actually already separate out April, May, and June into a book with the vertical priorities, with the vertical columns layout. So I can easily just, I guess I don't need that page. So I'm probably just going to pop these out and pop these in right here. I'll only do one month on camera, but after that, this will be the monthly spread and back to my weeklies. Now, the undated actually doesn't have the mini calendar up here, which is nice because then you have even more white space, which my brain is going to be very happy with. And then we have this bottom layer down here that is also open. See how much kinder this spread is in contrast to this? I think that there were just too many lines. You know what I mean? Anyways, it might just be me. It probably is just me, but I think using this as my main weekly and monthly system will be great. And since I do have 6 months of this, I do have the last quarter. I have all 12 months of the vertical columns, and that's fine if I need a backup. But if not, I'll probably just purchase, I'll purchase a new planner for October, and since plum paper can start whenever you do, that will be just fine for me. And back to my old favorite. No need to switch again, right? So my quarter 2 essential planner will be vertical priorities. Then we have a brand new MäksēLife Goals Notebook. This time I have chose Just Begin Again and Again. And we will be setting this one up next week's video for my quarter 2 goals. Sometimes progress means pivoting, sometimes it means starting fresh, and sometimes it just means adjusting the system a little bit to make it work for your real life. I'm keeping this A5 notebook in my stack basically as a notebook and a monthly planner, but I'll probably be leaning more on my digital tools when I'm out and about. Although the change itself was fairly small, just switching out one of the planners, it already feels like it's the right move for me. So thank you so much for planning with me today and going through my March reflections, as well as talking over my planner stack and seeing what's next. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you'll love what's coming next. So hit that subscribe button so these videos will show up right into your feed. And be sure to check the description box for links of anything that I mentioned today. Until then, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.